So you're thinking about moving to Arlington, Virginia, but you're not quite sure where it is in relation to the rest of Washington. What great neighborhoods are there in Arlington? What great fun and entertainment things there are to do in Arlington and around Arlington? How far is it from the airport? What would my commute be? Well, I'm going to bring you answers to all these questions and more. Also, stay tuned to the end because I'm going to tell you the unique story about how Arlington played a significant role in the only president of the United States ever to resign. We're going to get into all of that right now. So the best way to do this is to jump into the computer. I'm going to use Google Maps and Google Earth to give you this tour of Arlington. So let's start from a high level. What you're looking at here is the Washington, D.C. area. Arlington is here highlighted in red. To the north is the District of Columbia. Just to the north is DC, and you'll notice there are several bridges which give you direct access from Arlington right into Washington. To the north here is Maryland, so you have cities like Bethesda and Chevy Chase and Silver Spring and Rockville a little bit further to the north. The Potomac River runs in here and separates Maryland from Virginia, and then it separates DC from Arlington. It's literally DC is right over the bridge over the Potomac River. So the cities that surround Arlington, you have Alexandria, which is about 8.5 miles away. You have McLean, which is about 6.5 miles away, and just to the west of that is Tyson, so it's about 8 miles to Arlington. You have Falls Church and Annandale. And then let's talk about major roads. So Interstate 495 circles Washington. That is here, is outlined here, which circles through Maryland and Virginia. Then if we come in a little closer into Arlington again, we can see that Interstate 66, which will take you into Washington, or it'll take you out west to cities like Vienna and Tysons and Centerville, and then all the way out to actually the Blue Ridge Mountains. And it's important to note that Arlington is actually a county. So it's technically not a city, but everyone refers to it as a city. And it's separated, you'll hear a lot of people refer to North Arlington and South Arlington, which is separated by Route 50 or Arlington Boulevard. So you have North Arlington up here and South Arlington. Also, there is Interstate 395, which comes up from the south and runs through Arlington. And then you have also, if you are taking 66 out west, you also have access to the Dulles Toll Road, which is here, 267, which is going to take you on out to cities like Reston and Sterling, and then on out to Dulles Airport. So Arlington has about over 60 neighborhoods, but let's kind of walk through the major neighborhoods in Arlington. By the way, my name is Brad. I'm a local realtor serving Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Northern Virginia. It's an area we call the DMV. On this channel, I talk about living, working, playing, the good and the bad of Washington, D.C. and the surrounding suburbs like Arlington. If you've gotten something out of this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. I put out new videos every week. If you want more information, my contact information is below, and there's also a Zoom link. You can set up a Zoom. We can answer a lot of questions for you. Okay, back to the tour. So let's start in North Arlington, and let's start with what they call the Roslyn Boston Corridor. And that runs from here in Roslyn through Courthouse, Clarendon, Virginia Square, and then into Boston. We'll start with the Roslyn neighborhood. which is just across the river from DC. It has some of the best views of DC are in Roslyn, and actually some of the best views of Arlington are from the DC side. But if you've seen any skyline shots of Roslyn before, or of Arlington before, you've most likely seen the skyline in Roslyn. There's a lot of office there. There are condos as well, and I think in the last year, I think there's only one townhome that's actually sold. So it's predominantly condos in Roslyn. It's very walkable. Not a lot of nightlife there. Plenty of restaurants, but most of them cater to the business crowd. There is a metro stop in Roslyn. So as we head a little further west, we get to the Courthouse area. This is the county seat area, neighborhood. It happens to have the courthouse and the police station and the courts and so forth, but there's also several communities. You can find condos there, some townhomes, and with any of the neighborhoods here in the corridor, if you go a little further north, you're going to get into more single family homes, and you go a little further south, the same thing. So within the corridor, a lot of condos. And then like you get a block or two away and you get into townhomes, and you get a couple of blocks and you get into the single family homes. Great nightlife in Courthouse. Then we move on to the Clarendon area. So Clarendon has plenty of upscale retail. They also have some mom and pop shops. There's plenty of trendy bars, hip restaurants. Coffee shops are popular in Clarendon. A lot of the restaurants have outdoor seating. There's a combination of condos and townhomes and single family homes. There is a metro stop in Clarendon. There's also one in Courthouse. So any of the ones along this corridor here have a metro stop in each. Just to the north of Clarendon, you have Line Village, which is a gorgeous, chic, charming neighborhood, and it kind of has a small town feel. And by the way, that's one of the great things about Arlington is it's a very urban city, especially in this corridor here. But once you get a few blocks away, you feel like you're in a small town. But Lion Village, beautiful neighborhood. It was once described as a Norman Rockwell on a generous budget. As we head a little further south, we're getting into the Boston and Virginia Square area. It's actually a Boston Corridor. Virginia Square is one of the neighborhoods there, but Virginia Square there is centered around the Virginia Square Metro Station. You can find condos and single-family homes. As you make your way over towards the Boston area here with my little squiggly lines, but it's very lively, very cool area. There are a lot of bars, a lot of restaurants, coffee shops. There's Quincy Park. There's plenty of office here down in Boston as well. You can find condo buildings, townhomes, single-family homes. StayArlington.com says that 75% of the residents here are under 40. And that's an interesting fact. And there's some beautiful neighborhoods right around in Boston, like Waverly Place, where you find single-family homes and townhomes. And there's the beautiful Cherrydale, which is mostly single-family homes, a few townhomes. But this corridor here from Roslyn, Boston, is one of the more popular areas for homes and nightlife in Arlington, and especially North Arlington. So let's talk about South Arlington. So once again, in Arlington, there's over 60 neighborhoods. I'm just highlighting some of the more popular ones. And then with any of these, they're kind of the urban core neighborhoods in Arlington. And there's a lot of other small neighborhoods around it that's supporting it, so there's certainly not an exhaustive list of all the neighborhoods in Arlington. But down in South Arlington, we have Pentagon City. So Pentagon City is named because it's right across from the actual Pentagon, which is in Arlington, by the way. And Pentagon City can be described. There's some good shopping in Pentagon. So there's Pentagon Row, and there's Fashion Center at Pentagon Row. Housing-wise, you're mostly going to find condos. Although when you come to the south of Pentagon City, you can see in here there's plenty of townhomes and some single-family homes. Just to the east is Crystal City. So Crystal City there's a lot of high-tech and innovative businesses that are in Crystal City and that are moving to Crystal City. Amazon actually placed their second headquarters in Crystal City, and they have just about 5,000 employees. I think when they're completely fully utilized, it'll be somewhere in the neighborhood of 30,000 employees. And it's provided a kind of resurgence to the Crystal City area. And Arlington has rebranded this entire area, Pentagon City and Crystal City, as the National Landing Area. And that kind of somewhat refers to the Ronald Reagan National Airport is right here. But there's a metro stop in Pentagon City, metro stops in Crystal City. Crystal City's mostly condos, some townhomes, and once again, as you get into these neighborhoods here, you get into more of a kind of small townhomes, single-family homes. Also, to the south is Shirlington. So Shirlington is a great alternative to neighborhoods in North Arlington. I have several clients that are there. It does not have a metro stop. Of all the other neighborhoods we talked about, it's the one without a metro stop. But it's a very lively place. There's a town center there. There's plenty of restaurants there. There is theater there, parks. The best dog park, in my opinion, in Arlington is the Shirlington Dog Park, which is a really cool park right here on this little creek where the dogs can run free and play. So great little neighborhood, a little more affordable than North Arlington. And what you'll generally find is North Arlington is generally more expensive. South Arlington is a little more affordable. Although with Crystal City, some of that is changing as that is going through a resurgence in that National Landing, Crystal City, Pentagon City area. So let's jump back up to North Arlington, and I want to just quickly go over some of the landmarks in Arlington because they are significant. Starting in Roslyn with the view of DC, this is a cool it's an event space, but during the day it's like a free museum. It's on the 32nd floor of an office building, and it has the best views of DC. You can see over to Georgetown, you can see the Kennedy Center, the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial. To the south of that is the U.S. Marine Corps Memorial, or it's better known as the Iwo Jima Memorial. Just adjacent to the Iwo Jima is the National Cemetery, which is quite large. Over 400,000 veterans are buried at National Cemetery, along with John F. Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, Ted Kennedy, and Jacqueline Kennedy. Also on the grounds of the National Cemetery is the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. They do, I believe it's twice a day, they do a Changing the Guards, which is a really cool event to watch if you're there at the right time. To the south is, we talked about the Pentagon. Next to the Pentagon, there is a memorial for those who perished during the 9/11 attacks. There's the Air Force Memorial, which is near the Pentagon, which is a beautiful memorial. And just across the river, so if you cross over from Arlington over the Memorial Bridge, you run right into the Lincoln Memorial, and then around that is this area called the National Mall. So the National Mall is the Lincoln Memorial, the World War II Memorial, the Korean War Memorial, the Washington Monument. To the north, straight up here, is the White House, and to the east is the Capitol. And then there's a ton of museums here, a lot of the free Smithsonian museums. So As you can see, great landmarks in and right around Arlington.
Well, you've likely heard the story of Watergate, right? Where the burglars broke into the Democratic National Convention. The offices were in a building called Watergate. That complex still exists today in Georgetown. But it was a confidential informant that was talking to the Washington Post, and Washington Post had a series of articles that ultimately led to President Nixon resigning, right? The famous shot where he's in the helicopters and doing the peace signs. Well, nobody knew who that informant was. He was only nicknamed Deep Throat, and he would meet with Bob Woodward of the Washington Post in this parking garage. Well, in 2005, a gentleman named Mark Felt, who was the former FBI director, disclosed on his deathbed that he in fact was the informant. Then Bob Woodward disclosed, yes, he was, and we used to meet in a parking garage in spot D32 in Roslyn in Arlington. So Arlington played the major role and ultimately the only resignation by a US president. Okay, so we've gone over Arlington, where it is, its proximity to DC, its access to the highways. It's a city that's really well designed. Hopefully you can see that with residential and commercial areas and entertainment options. But you want to know likely what are the pros and cons, how costly is it to live there? Well, I'm going to do that in my next video, so be sure to check it out. If you've got something out of this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. I put out new videos every week. Thanks for watching.